All right, so I've got my oils and my lye at about 107 degrees on each of them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly pour my lye into my oil mixture, and then I'm going to use my immersion blender to pulse it through. And I'll show you what that looks like and what we're going to look for. All right, so I'm just going to slowly pour this in. For the record, I did get the spiders out of it. And I'm just going to put that in the sink so I don't accidentally bump it. All right, so this is where we actually start making soap. So I'm going to make sure that my immersion blender is completely submerged right in the center of it. And I'm just going to kind of pulse this. And you can see how I'm getting bubbles in here. Here, I'll bring you a little closer. So you can see how I'm getting the bubbles in there. That is something I'm going to want to watch. You can see it's definitely getting thicker, though those bubbles are not coming right up to the top very quickly at all. And it is starting to get lighter in color, a little bit thicker looking, like soap, like you would expect. And what I'm looking for is called trace. So when I am pulling my immersion blender out, I'm looking to be able to see an outline of it when it comes out, and that's what we call trace. I'm just going to check. Does not look like I'm quite there yet. It is getting thicker though. You see how these bubbles at the top, they're not really breaking. They're kind of getting stretchy and rubber-like. That's a really good sign. I think we're almost there. There we go. So now I've reached the point of what we call trace. And you can see, let me get rid of some of these bubbles. They're getting really hard to get rid of. So when I pull this out, you can see there's an outline where that little bit of soap still stays raised for a little while. So now I'm going to give it the sniff test. Make sure it smells enough like coffee. If not, I'm going to add some scent. Yeah, I'm going to add a little bit. It actually smells really pretty strongly of coffee, better than I thought it would. Hold on just a second, I gotta go grab my scent. All right, so I've got my coffee scent here. I got this at Hobby Lobby, just a soap scent. I'm just gonna add a couple of drops and mix it in and see how it smells. Oh yeah, that smells really good. All right, so now that I've gotten this thick enough, I am going to get this poured out into my soap molds. All right, so now I've got my soap molds prepped, and I'm just going to pour these in. I'll just fill as many molds as I can with this. on average, I tend to make about 1 mold per batch of soap. I made 2 batches, so I'll probably have right about 2 molds full. I might have a little bit more than that. Sometimes I have a little extra. I think I'll be right about there, maybe even a little less. I'll have one really skinny little bar of soap, it looks like. I'm just going to scrape the rest out of here. All right, so I've got my molds all set here. What I'm going to do, just because you can see this is fairly thick, I'm going to give each of these just kind of a little wrap to see if I can get some of these bubbles to come out here. And I might put it on a cookie sheet and try that first. Probably should have had these in cookie sheets to begin with, but hey. Nice thing about these silicone molds, no matter where I get this soap, and I get it everywhere every time, I can just scrape it off when it's done. There we go. So now I can give that a little pound here, and you can see some of those bubbles are starting to come up. I just want to make sure I don't have bubbles in my finished product soap, because if there's bubbles in it at this stage, it's going to harden that way. That's not what I want at all. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to move these down to the basement. I'm going to put a piece of wax paper loosely over them. I really want them to be able to breathe though, so I'm not going to put it tight. I don't want to press it on the soap at all, because what we want is as much of that water to evaporate out of the soap as possible. As long as there's no water in the soap, you don't have to worry about your excess oil spoiling. It's actually the liquid water in there that would cause spoilage of any kind. So I'm going to get these in the basement. I'm going to let them sit for about 2 to 3 days. They should harden up plenty in that time frame. Once they're hard, I'm going to remove them from the molds so they can breathe on all sides and evaporate as much of that water out as possible. After about 2 weeks, they'll be ready to use. I hope you had fun learning how to make soap today, and I really hope that you take a step towards more natural hygiene products. In our family, we've gotten rid of just about anything that's not handmade, either by ourselves or by someone else in our hygiene routines, and I would say it makes a huge difference in our life. So check back next week and we'll go over something else crafty for How To Tuesday. Thank you!